Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the mini-series we have started here called Serial Scouting. Now for those of you guys that do not know about the series, pretty much it's a series I'm releasing every Tuesday at the moment, and it is just scouting at the moment the Premier League sides. So what we look at is the best performing player in my opinion, or the best current player, the best under 23 asset they have, and then a ones to watch, which is just sort of like an outsider shout for someone that I think might sort of improve, or you may not have heard of, or is in the academy, or something like that. Someone just to sort of keep an eye out for with each squad. With that being said, this series obviously took a lot of preparation, a lot of time for me to, go through each squad and scout out players from academies and things. With that being said, I'd appreciate you guys leaving a like on the video and subscribing because it means the world to me, and I spend a lot of time obviously preparing videos like this. So now that's out of the way, we'll move on with our first club, which is going to be Everton. Now, for those of you guys that are eagle-eyed, you'll notice that that Everton probably should have been in the last video, but I realised that I'd done 19 squads, and I was like, which squad am I missing? Everton, and I missed the alphabetical order. So Everton is the only one not in alphabetical order, and it should have been in the last video, but I'm a human, I make mistakes. So we are starting with Everton today, and yeah, for me, the best current player is definitely between McNeil and Ndiaye. I've put Ndiaye in because I just really like him, to be honest. No, not a really real excuse, to be honest. Him and McNeil is a toss-up. I think they're both great, both been performing really well, and probably both could be, the current, like they're probably on the same sort of level for me. But I just personally enjoy I personally enjoy watching Ndiaye more. Therefore, I've put him in this position, and you can see. He averages about a 7 rating throughout all the comps he's been playing in, especially well this season with a 7.15. And I just remember, or well, just every time I watch Everton, really, he just looks like dangerous on the ball and the player that you don't want to like. You don't want to be stepping towards him as a defender because he just looks like he's going to skin you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I like Ndiaye. I think he's a good asset for Everton. Best current under 23 player, I believe he's sort of back from his injury now, but would have to say Jarrad Branthwaite. Obviously, he picked up the award last season, as stated here, for the Players' Player of the Season, which means the club or the players in the club obviously rate him very highly, and obviously got the Young Player of the Season, and missed a chunk of the start of this season, which is a bit unfortunate. But I think that doesn't change the fact that he is their best asset or their best under 23 in my opinion. And yeah, great defender. Obviously, he has his eyes set on making this England squad, so let's see if Jarrad can carry on his form from last season when he's back fully fit. Let's hope he can do that, hey? And the one to watch here is going to be Charlie Whittaker. Now, this is a bit of I can't lie, out of all of the squads I looked at the Premier League, Everton did not have the greatest academy. Well, I say that, but you know what I mean, no one was really sticking out. So it might just be a case of they're all pretty decent. But yeah, I'm not too sure. But Charlie Whittaker looked like the pick of a bunch. They did have a decent striker. I believe he's called Sheriff. He looked okay, Martin Sheriff, but yeah, I think Charlie Whittaker playing in the 10, obviously purely based on his recent form, you can see here, goal, blank, 2 goals, and a goal, is pretty decent from a midfielder, and you can see he's played a lot for their sort of academy and under 23s and under 18s and stuff like that. So he could potentially get his move up to the main squad at some point soon. I believe he's like 2021 now, so he's sort of getting into them years where he needs to be getting that first team football for maybe a championship side, who knows. But yeah, Charlie Whittaker looks like the pick of the bunch in the academy for me. And yeah, I mean, I could have picked maybe a first teamer who was a little bit older, and I'm expecting them to do better. But yeah, I decided to go for a youngster in the Everton ranks. So Moving on then to the Merseyside. Well, the other team in the Merseyside, that is Liverpool. Best current player, not going to spend too much time on it. Just think it is Salah. Obviously, they're offering him a new contract, which probably will get signed soon. I did actually think he was going to move to Saudi, but yeah, I mean, look at that. The last, what, 3, 7, 8 seasons, even 9 at Roma in the Greens, you just, yeah, not really much to talk about there. He just is one of the best players in the league, let alone his team. And the best current under 23, I don't think many people would be surprised at this one. Ryan Gravenberch for me, he stepped into that role perfectly. Obviously, they wanted Zubimendi, but they're playing Ryan Gravenberch in that sort of DM role, and he just looks phenomenal. Obviously, plays for Holland as well. Can't really argue with that. And look, just looks great for AA based on his L15 and his L5. And you can just see with stats like these ones here, very high in the 90s for passing and things like that. So Gravenberch, great baller. And yeah, looking at their ones to watch, we've got Tyler Morton. So he is in the academy at the moment, who was at Hull City last season, as you can see, and played 41 games, which is good. I mean, shows that he's not getting injured. They liked him there, even if he's coming off the bench, he's still getting game time, which is good. And yeah, I picked out one of sort of a game that he played recently here against Brighton. And yeah, played really well, got an assist and things like that. And he looks like he's maybe on the horizon. One of these this is the type of player. If you watch the last episode, you will see I was talking about the players that like Smith Rowe and people that have moved to a lower tier club to get game time. I feel like this might be one of the types of players that just needs to get another because obviously he's been in the Championship with Blackburn and Hull, but I'd like to see him just get move on maybe from Liverpool if he's not going to get the appearances. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with Tyler Morton if he can break into the team or not. But it looks like a decent young prospect for Liverpool. So next up we have got Manchester City. Now their best current player for me, no debate, league's top goal scorer, Erling Haaland. Now if you ask me, probably about 2 years ago, maybe even a year ago, I would have said De Bruyne or Rodri. But at the minute, can't really put Rodri. I mean, he's the best player in the world, but I mean, he's out for the season, so you kind of yeah. I mean, you probably would say Rodri is better than Haaland, but yeah, I didn't really want to include him because he's out for the season. So it's like, yeah, and obviously they're quite reliant on Haaland right now. He needs to be scoring, needs to be hitting this form again if they want to start winning. And yeah, he's the league top goal scorer, so I don't think it's too outlandish to say that. And the best under 23 for me is Gvardiol. I think he's one of the best defenders in the league, let alone best under 23. Yeah, if you know me, I love Gvardiol. He's probably my favourite defender on the platform right now. So yeah, not too much really to write home about there. And then this is a player, James McAtee. You might already have heard of him. Now, weird with McAtee because part of me says just go do what Liam Delap done, do what all these other players have done where they've sort of moved on from the big club and you've gone, taken a step down, sort of dropped the ego and gone to maybe a lesser of a club. But you can see here he scored in a game for Man City in his senior career, which is good. And he does come off the bench he's come off the bench a few times, so maybe he does want to stick it out, of course, in the England setup as well. Interesting one to see what he does here, McAtee, because he could break into the Man City team. He could do like what Foden done, just stayed there and just worked for his spot in the team. And you could potentially see it because he's great on the ball. Yeah, a good little player. But yeah, definitely one to watch out because he's got a lot to come in the future, hopefully, for James McAtee. So moving to another Manchester club, Manchester United. Again, not really one to debate here. Best current player has to be Bruno. He's on the set pieces. He scores really well when he scores well, which is what you want to see. And yeah, he's just there's not really much competition really. I don't know who you could argue. I do like Garnacho, but don't really know who else you might say is on level with him anyway, especially from a Sorare perspective. Now, best current under 23. This is probably controversial, but I'm going to go with Manuel Ugarte because you can see on the right here, Amarim's just been appointed, and obviously they have that connection from their sporting days, and I just feel like he's going to do a job at Man U now. And at the minute, I'd say he's the most valuable under 23, purely based on the fact that the potential he has to sort of form that bond with Amarim and become a real like great starter for them. You can already see his strengths here: tackle in position, high pressing, exactly what you want from a DM. And yeah, as of recording this, guys, obviously I've recorded this series all as a chunk recording. So a couple of weeks back I recorded this. So as of recording, Ugarte hasn't played under Amarin yet. But obviously, when this comes out, he would have probably played a couple of games by now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I've not done something controversial here, and he drops a couple of stinkers, but fingers crossed, he does the business for Amarim, and yeah, we'll see how this one goes, because obviously yet to sort of light it up in the Premier League, as you can see from his average scores here, but he done it in League One, Copa America, he done well, and yeah, so moving on then. One to watch, we have Harry Amas, obviously in the England setup, and yet to sort of break into that Manchester United side, but another youngster who could get a move, and yeah, just like the look of him, playing football, picking up the ball, composed, good on the turn, and yeah, so hopefully Harry Amas will, get some more game time for Man U, or even get a loan move out to maybe a championship side. And the last team in this video is going to be Newcastle. I've watched every single Newcastle game this season, so I currently live in Newcastle, for those of you guys that don't know. And yeah, Bruno Guimaraes, I don't think is much. You could argue Joelinton, but they're both amazing football players. Both in the midfield for majority. Joelinton sometimes play that wide, but yeah, just box to box. Bruno he's just the type of player you don't want to play against because he's always there in your face, playing for the badge. Just think he's a great player to have, and probably him or Isak, you would argue, is the best player or asset that Newcastle have right now. The best under 23 has to probably be one of the fullbacks. Obviously, Tino and Hall, both recently playing for England. And yeah, look to hopefully be the future for English fullbacks, or at least compete for them positions. Yeah, so for me, Hall, as of recording, Hall kind of edges it over Tino, purely based on his performances this season. To be honest, Hall has been fantastic. If you'd have said from last season, I probably would have picked Livramento, but this season Hall just looks like he's learnt that left back position, and he's just fantastic, and obviously can play in the midfield if needs be. And yeah, Tino is kind of versatile as well because he can play left back and right back. But yeah, I think most young players nowadays are quite versatile in the sense that they can play multiple positions. But I like the idea that Hall can go in the midfield, as opposed to not just playing on the back line. And yeah, you can tell from his defending stats, he's been great this season, and definitely one that Newcastle will be holding on to for a long time. Chelsea missed out on this one for sure. And yeah, ones to watch. So we've got Trevan. I'm not great with names, but I think it's pronounced Trevan Sanusi. Now, this is a youngster I watched in pre-season for Newcastle. It kind of reminds me of Saint Maximum in the sense he picks up the ball. He's a bit tricky, really agile winger, a lot of pace, cuts inside, and yeah, he just looks a bit electric, to be honest. Obviously in the England setup, as well as all these good youngsters are, and I just think he is definitely got a very high ceiling in terms of potential, and could be one we see in the future. Unfortunately, not on Sorare just yet. But yeah, I'll definitely be looking to pick up one of them on Sorare if he does get one next season. But let's wait and see. He might go out on loan. Who knows? But yeah, that is going to be the scouting video, or episode 3 completed in the video here today. If you guys do want to see any of the other teams or the last 5 teams on the list, the last 5 teams will be released next Tuesday, and obviously if you go back on the channel you will see all the other teams before this one. But yeah, so just zoom out so you guys can see. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. Obviously a lot of prep, like I said, so please leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you guys in a future video. Peace.